We had the.
There's a range, 50 to 65. So we're still negotiating what that is. You know,
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
110 skip the city.
You think of my tagline.
So you can do that.
Call the meeting to order.
Quit my day job.
Will the clerk please read the statement of meeting notice?
Notice provided to the public and the press on January 19th, 2025, and was posted at the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Thank you. Will the public please stand with me and join on a pledge to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Bushieri,
Here.
Councilmember Di Benedetto,
Present.
Councilmember Higgins.
Here.
Councilmember Sparta, Council President Rizzuto.
Here. This evening, we're pleased to have with us, as we've had in the past, a young scout who was on his way to, actually, I guess he's already been there and
Yeah.
been awarded it. He's been awarded the highest rank that scouting offers. I don't know him personally, but I was informed of this by my co-counsel person, my colleague, Mrs. Di Benedetto. And I thought that perhaps since they're neighbors, she and the mayor, who also was very close to this individual and is known to the family, might like to have the opportunity to introduce this young man and bring the public up to speed as to what he did to earn his Eagle Scout badge and what his plans are. Mrs. Di Benedetto, it's.
Well, I have a write-up if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I want to say congratulations, Cody. I know being Eagle Scout is a huge accomplishment. But some of the things I want to talk about his accomplishments to the public, because I think he has gone above what that recommendation is to make Eagle Scout. He went way above it. I just want to go down a laundry list of all of his accomplishments. Cody started the Cub Scouts, September 2013, where he continued through the ranks to earn his Arrow of Light. He then crossed over to Boy Scout Troop 404 in December of 2017, where the Eagle Trail begins. Here's some of the highlights of his scouting career. 58 nights of camping. Minimum is 21. 51 miles of hiking, including exploring many trails throughout Vernon. 74 hours of community service, including many miles of road cleanups throughout Vernon. Volunteering at Vernon Day. VFW flag ceremonies, Barry Lakes beach cleanups, 9/11 ceremonies, and so much more. Minimum service hours required is 18 hours. So you can just see the amount of hours he's put in, well above what he's required to do. Earned 37 merit badges. 21 is the minimum, and only 4% of all scouts in America earn Eagle. Since going way above the minimum, he qualified for the prestigious Silver Palm that only 0.25% of all Eagle Scouts earn. Cody has held many leadership roles within the troop and is currently a junior assistant scoutmaster, which is the highest position a youth can hold within a troop. Past roles include senior patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, librarian, and den chief. He earned the den chief award by serving as an assistant in the Vernon Cub Scout Pack 183 for several years, prepping K-5 scouts to become Boy Scouts when eligible. Because of his influence, almost all Cub Scouts came to Troop 404, which I know that was a big one. My son joined that too, and that was the troop to be in. So where Cody continued teaching and influence. His influence has helped Troop 404 grow substantially. Through scouting, he has earned citizenship, leadership, problem solving, wilderness survival, and so many more great qualities. Cody is a prime example of what an Eagle Scout is. It's not just about camping and tying a few knots. That I know for sure. My son was in it, and there's so many benefits that go into those roles. Cody's Eagle Scout project was a 1/10 scale remote control vehicle Jeep trail. It's 1/10 of a mile long and consists of many obstacles we see in our own trails in the area, such as rock climbs, mud holes, logs, creek crossings, etc. The project is located near the Barry Lakes Clubhouse in the woods. The Township of Vernon proclamation, whereas, Cody, if you can come on up with your family. Sophia, Jessica. Whereas, since its establishment in 1911, the Eagle Scout Award represents the highest ranking within the Boy Scouts of America. And whereas qualifying for the prestigious badge requires considerable perseverance, hard work, and dedication, which few scouts attain. And whereas Cody Jacobs, member of Troop 404 since 2017, has fulfilled his community Eagle Scout project by creating, again, the 1/10 scale of remote control Jeep. It's 1/10 long, obstacles and many obstacles you see in our own trails. Sorry, I'm just reading back because the proclamation was top of the list of things. Whereas through the hard work and loyalty, community service, and helpfulness, Cody has realized his goal of achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. Now, therefore, being proclaimed by the Township of Vernon, that sincere congratulations and hereby extended to Cody Jacobs for his commendable achievement in receiving the prestigious Eagle Scout Badge Award as a member of Boy Scout Troop 404. Congratulations.
Sure.
Okay.
I want to show.
Oh,
And let's get your family around, but could we, yeah.
okay.
Just hold that, yeah, like that, yeah.
Good.
I would find the camera somewhere. Hey, guys, come on.
I was gonna sneak back here, but.
You're on it. We just hold on one second. I invited the police department, they wanted to come on up. You guys want to come on up, and I let them know we had an Eagle Scout. Something.
I'm gonna congratulate him.
Guys,
Yeah.
how are you? Good, yeah. All right. Get a picture with everybody here. See me here? I'll see you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
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 Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
All the time.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Cody, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Oh, oh, my bad.
Congratulations.
It's like, it's for art, like.
Can I say something to Cody quickly before you, all right, Cody, before you guys go, I just want to say that we're really proud of you, and I wrote this down because I'm a terrible public speaker, but we're incredibly proud of your achievements as an Eagle Scout, a rank earned through unwavering dedication and leadership with, which I've witnessed with my own eyes. I've seen you in action. You're quite an impressive young man. Your commitment to the Scout oath and the law inspires us all. We congratulate you on this well-deserved honor.
Yeah, just when we were on our campaign trail, we were invited to go to
Yeah.
the Scouts. And when I think I first met Cody.
Oh, our mics went out. They're back on.
Okay, hello? Oh,
Yeah, just
They're out.
have to talk loud.
Cody, what did you do? No.
oh, no. I got a big mouth.
I'm still out.
No.
Oh, here we go. I'm back on.
We're back on.
There we go.
Good.
Yep, okay. Council President,
And we're back.
back over to you.
Proclamations for Autism Month and.
Okay, do you have anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you for
Good luck
coming.
and
Guy. Oh, thank you.
Same.
bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This month is also a designation as a month for designation of the autism problem in so many families. Whereas autism spectrum disorders are a group of developmental disabilities characterized by atypical development, socialization, communication, and behavior, which generally appear before 3 years of age and continue over a lifetime. And whereas an estimated 1/3 of people with autism are unable to communicate verbally, and whereas approximately 2/3 of children with autism between the ages of 6 and 15 have been victims of bullying, excuse me, and whereas nearly 28% of 8-year-olds with autism and a spectrum disorder have engaged in self-injurious behavior, which has led to head banging, arm biting, skin scratching. And whereas almost half of those with autism have wandered or bolted from safety, and drowning accounts for 90% of deaths associated with wandering or bolting by children with autism aged 14 and younger. And whereas lifetime cost for caring for a person or a child with autism estimated to be as great as 2.4 million. And whereas although there is no known cure for autism, research suggests that early diagnosis and treatment can reduce the cost of autism care and improve outcomes for people with autism. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 3.5 million Americans live with autism spectrum disorder, and 1 out of every 59 children born today will be diagnosed with autism. And whereas New Jersey has the highest rate of autism in the nation, and the prevalence of autism in the state continues to exceed and outpace the rate of autism in other states. And whereas since the 1970s, National Autism Awareness Month has taken place annually in April to highlight the growing need for concern, and whereas about autism, and whereas given the rapidly growing rate of autism spectrum disorders in New Jersey, and the pressing need for early detection, it is altogether fitting and proper and within the public interest to designate April of each year as Autism Awareness Month in New Jersey, and to encourage the citizens of New Jersey to join the observance of the month and raise awareness of autism spectrum disorders. Now therefore be it resolved by the Vernon Township Mayor and Council that April is recognized as National Autism Awareness Month in Vernon, New Jersey. Signed by the Mayor, Anthony Rossi, and myself, Patrick Rizzuto, as Council President. This is a rather long proclamation, but I think it brings to mind the very, very complicated and complex problem that these youngsters face. And also, having dealt with this in a very personal nature, I've seen what happens when the problems presented by autism are recognized early and the professional treatment that is needed is provided early within the child's life. The outcome is very, very wonderful. I've seen people with this type of a problem go on to receive medical degrees. I've seen people who are unable to communicate in a recognizable fashion, graduate college, have a steady job. So it isn't because of the nature of the job, it's because of the continual recognition of what these challenges bring and the necessity for professional intervention as soon as possible. So, know of anybody that has this, please encourage them to recognize what this is. It's a condition that can be treated and that you shouldn't wait any longer than necessary. Thank you. Also, this month is designated a National Volunteer Month. And the mayor spends a great deal of time working with volunteer groups, so I will ask him to please read this proclamation. And Mayor, would you please do the honor?
Thank you, Council President. Designation of April as National Volunteer Month, whereas volunteers are an integral part of communities throughout this country, and Vernon Township is well known for its spectacular volunteer spirit. A large measure of Vernon's strength, beauty, and unique character is derived from the outstanding contributions made by thousands of residents who volunteer in every facet of everyday life and play a vital role in many organizations and groups. And whereas residents who volunteer their time provide assistance which cannot be measured in terms of dollars. Like I said, the amount of volunteering and the hours that goes in is something incredible. It's a lot. Volunteers provide a spirit of helping that multiplies in value when each resident reaches out to assist another, discovering their power to make a difference. And whereas volunteers throughout the Township of Vernon donate their time to a wide variety of programs such as recreation, youth athletic leagues, and through their services on multiple township boards, committees, and commissions. And whereas volunteers provide vital emergency services through all volunteer emergency medical service department, fire department, auxiliary, and emergency management. And whereas April is a month for volunteers with the occurrences of National Services Recognition Day, Earth Day, and United Way's National Volunteer Month. And whereas during this month, all over the nation, service projects will be performed and volunteers recognized for their commitment to service. And whereas the Vernon Township Mayor and Council extends their deepest gratitude to the fine men and women who generously donate their time to the community. And whereas Vernon Township, New Jersey recognizes the benefits derived from volunteers and encourages fellow citizens to volunteer in their community. By volunteering and recognizing those who serve, we can come together and make a difference. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Vernon Township Mayor and Council that April is recognized as National Volunteer Month in Vernon Township, New Jersey. Without the volunteers, it's hard to get many things done. So special thank you to all of our volunteers, from the boards to the emergency service teams. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, may we have your comments?
Sir. No, just this Friday at the flats at the fields, we'll be having a lighting ceremony, which I think is going to be around somewhere like 6:30. The light out. So we're going to have a lighting ceremony. As you know, we just invested in upgrading most of the lighting down there at the ball field. So there'll be a ceremony there, which I think is opening day for the Little League, but again, which would be a little kind of add two things at once there. May 3rd from 8 to 4, which is our bulky waste day. So it's time to do some spring cleanup. We'll be accepting that bulk at the Vernon across from the recycling center. There'll be dumpsters there, and some of the gentlemen from our DPW will be there to assist if need be. This week, we have a committee. We have, they haven't been sworn in yet, but we have enough applications now for the beautification committee. I think I called my daughter Marissa, but 2 meetings ago, but I'm going to just put them into the record now. That's Marissa Rossi, Heidi Labrie, Heather Flood, Karen Gonen, and our part-time activities department, Meg Werner. So she will be joining the beautification committee. So we'll get some information out there, and we'll be able to talk about some of the projects that we have kicking off. So I'm looking forward to that. And finally, one last thing. And I can't talk too much about it, but I will just touch the surface a little bit. We have let me find my paperwork here. Sorry. We have with Legends. I know people have been waiting for an update for quite some time, and we've been working with the new owners of Legends, with our attorney. Council President has been engaged the entire time. We put together it's still a work in progress because it hasn't been approved yet. It's a conditional redevelopment agreement between Vernon Township and Legends. Without going into great details of this agreement, I think by next council meeting, I will be submitting that agreement for the council to review and hopefully approve. With that said, again, just touching the surface here, one of the requirements, there's kind of like a laundry list of requirements that we expect from the owners, which is their redevelopment plan, but one of them is money, right? So we put together something that can work until they close on their construction loan, which is $100,000 a month, 45,000 into an escrow account. The escrow account is going to pay for our services such as, the legal services or engineers, anytime they requested or needed that. Those services that money will be paid out of that account. And today I have actually received two checks, one for $100,000 and one for $45,000. And so this is the first time we've actually received, and that $100,000 will go towards some of the municipal tax liens. We'll have to work with figuring out which ones those are going to be, or which ones they want, and then we'll approve whether that's acceptable or not. But anyhow, the first money that we've received in a long time for Legends. I understand it's not the millions of dollars, but we're working with them as they are trying to get their construction loans. Again, we're working very closely. We did get some good feedback on what that progress is, but again, we'll present that to hopefully the next council meeting. We'll have that agreement in front of the council and to review and approve and go from there. So that is all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Public comment. May I have a motion to open the
I'll
floor?
make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The floor is open to the public for a period of 3 minutes on agenda items only.
Up to the closer one, yeah. No, yeah, up,
This one right here.
right here.
Oh, while you're up, can you just give me these two? Can you bring these up and let them share, because I want them to see what I'm talking about.
Okay, just please, if you could just state your name.
Oh, my name is Florence Kensick, and I live in Highland Lakes. So I received this violation notice from Mindy. And it starts off with a lie, and it was very upsetting to me. Because it says, you are hereby notified that a code official inspected the above referenced premises. So I went down to Mindy and I asked her, who was the code official? And when did that person come to inspect the property? And she just looked at me, she didn't answer. So I asked her again and I said, I really have the right to know. And she said, well, I'm not allowed to work nights, so nobody came. Your violation is based on a photo from your neighbor. So the photo was taken over a year ago, before the house was painted, before all the lighting was redone. And we showed Mindy the pictures of the new lighting, which Allison LaRocca helped us with the specs to make sure everything was compliant. Mindy refused to put them in the envelope that went to the prosecutor. When we went to court, we explained this to the prosecutor, and he said, what is a lumen? I don't know what a lumen is or what it means. The house is well under the lumens allowed. So he said, I'd like you to leave the room while I call Mindy. Mindy should have been there because she filled out the violation. However, he called Mindy and Mindy couldn't explain it to him. So he got off the phone and he said, I have no answers for you on the lumens, but Mindy said she'll accept $100 fine. So there was no violation and I don't see how it can be charged. And I don't know what to do. It's in all of our names, the letter, the violation letter came to my house, to me and my husband. And I don't know what to do. Like, why wasn't Mindy, if she filled out the violation, why didn't she have to be there to explain it? Why didn't she put our photos in with the neighbor's photo, which was a year old. So a week later, Officer Sandsmark went to the house unannounced at night. He was very nice. He went all over the property. It's on,
It's on my
video.
phone.
You have 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds.
Thank you.
And he said, I can't find anything wrong. The lights don't go near his house. I'm gonna go talk to him. So Mindy didn't accept that. And she sent another officer who went against Officer Sandsmark, which is wrong. And he, with his body cam, shown it
All right.
right on
Time is up.
her lighting, which is under the deck. It's not even on their house.
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Your name involved in the house?
Yes.
Yes, we're all on the deed.
You want to take over? Or you want
You get a fresh 3 minutes.
you got a fresh start?
Well,
Just for the record, your name, ma'am?
my name is Michelle Clark and I'm the one who lives at 405 Marsh Place South. Everything that Mom said happened. We were told that we could rectify the situation by March 6th. March 5th, we had another officer come and use his body cam. We turned the light on for our dog. We shut it off. We're in bed at 8:30. We get up at 3:30 in the morning. There's, the violation is 5/10 of a loom per square foot of your property. My property is 18,000 square feet. Therefore, I'm allowed 9,000 looms. My light is 1,600 looms. And as far as I know, Vernon Township doesn't have a loom checker. And
Are you involved in any type of litigation with this?
I am.
And for us to comment, is the township involved in that litigation?
I guess this is a municipal court matter, correct?
It
Yes.
is.
Have you went to municipal court once, correct?
Correct.
Did.
You didn't pay the fine, did you?
I did
No,
not,
said
but we
I
have
won.
a,
So then it would be inappropriate for the governing body to talk about it because you're gonna have a trial, I would assume.
Yes.
correct? And that, at that point in time, you'd present all the proofs that you state you have here to the court, and then a judge will make that determination of guilt or not guilty.
correct, but
We can't do that, nor can this board, not me, but the governing body, the mayor and the council is a separate, it's the legislative body and the administrative body. That's the judicial part. So everything you say may be true, and at the end of the day, it may be dismissed, but this board can't decide that. It'd be improper.
But isn't there going to be a new ordinance,
Yeah,
2505?
That's a different subject, yes.
But that's still looms, correct? On lighting nuisance?
That's correct.
Okay, so this is the same thing. That's why we're here.
But that, you were issued for a nuisance, I believe.
Yes, which is
Nuisance.
2412,
For your lighting.
same
Yes.
as lighting as 2505.
And the new ordinance makes it,
That's why we're here.
okay. But so the ordinance is for today, it's a different procedure. You'll have a chance to talk about that ordinance. If you think that ordinance shouldn't be passed or you have a problem, there'll be another public session where you can come and say why you think it's good or why you think it's bad. I don't know what your thought is on that, but this is not the time to do that yet because we haven't introduced it.
Okay, well,
Okay,
okay, fine.
thank you.
Thanks.
thank you.
On this way.
Any other questions or comments?
For agenda item?
Agenda item?
It's okay.
My name is Karina. I just wanna point out about, you guys spoke about autism.
I'm sorry?
You guys spoke about autism, that is,
Yes.
the month of autism. Autism, it's a disorder.
Yes.
It's not easy to have a child with that. It's not easy.
Yes.
To deal with this, and it's not an issue, it's a social, repetitive, and a sensory situation that the child has difficulty to adjust.
Mhm.
The child can be a bright child, full of intelligence, be smart as or more than a regular child with the IQ above of any other child.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's a bright child. And I will keep coming because I know how it is. It's not only autism, it's other disorders that comes with the child and makes it very difficult for the parents, to develop a good ways for them to learn and adjust to this world. And they need activities, they need to be outside, they need to have interaction, and the parents need help. And I am in that position, and I'm coming here for months, asking for help.
I don't know what kind of help we can afford, but it's how old is the child?
I have two of them,
How old?
15 and 9,
15 and 9.
yes.
Those ages are well within the limits of attending public schools in the township.
They are,
And certainly I would.
they are in there.
Concerns that you have, should be raised to members of the school staff and.
They are aware, they have the paperwork for that. They also need activities, they need to be training properly. They have to have,
And that's.
so I'm just talking about because you guys said, and I'm bringing a little bit more of the information because I know on my own shoes what that it is. So it's umbrella, each child behaves different.
Yeah.
It's like 3 levels, it's 1, 2, and 3. Some kids are more adjustable, easier to train and to teach them. Other kids is more difficult. Not all autism kid is not verbal.
Right.
Many of them are verbal. They just don't express correctly their feelings, and they have this difficulty to adjust to the social interaction.
I understand your concerns and, we appreciate it and thank you for bringing it to us, but my comment to you is, while we share in your concerns, the response that I can give you, there really isn't much that we can do.
I'm not
But that's why I'm referring you to.
I'm not asking for help in the sense of that. I'm just letting everybody knows that I know what it is. And that's, when I come here, I'm asking for something additional or so on, because I know what it is, this is this.
Okay,
So conscience about this has to be taken serious.
I understand.
No more comments.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing no one coming forward, may I have a motion to close the floor to the public?
Moved.
Moved by Mrs. Di Benedetto. Is there a
Second.
second? Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Bills list. Members of the council have received copies of the bills list. Are there any comments on this?
I just wanted to, I appreciate the notes that you're putting on there, Danelle, with the trust information. So that has been noticed and thank you very much. It is helpful. I appreciate that.
I just wondered what the pulse oxes were for. They're so expensive.
Those were, I believe, for the ambulance.
I thought so. Okay, thank you.
And it's not just one, there's like a.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you. We'll move on. Members of the council have received the minutes for meeting of April 14th, like our regular meeting, for approval. May I have a motion to place these minutes on the floor for consideration?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Any comments or questions on these minutes?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I'm listed as seconding a motion.
Oh, no?
That is.
Yeah, the closing public comments.
I will fix that.
And I just saw it today, or I would have just emailed you.
Thank you. Anything? All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Aye.
As a,
May have a roll call vote on this.
You need a roll call, James abstain.
Councilmember Bouchieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Abstain?
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Carries as amended.
Brings us to our municipal budget. And we're starting this portion of the meeting with a presentation of the budget by our Chief Executive Officer. I'm sorry. Chief Financial.
Big promotion.
Oh, you better watch your.
Thank you, thank you. I was elected by the people. All right, so you got, yeah, it needs to like sit, no, the other way.
Yeah, I put these lights.
I think I'm gonna sit over there.
In the audience.
The back, make it worse. Yeah. But the problem is when you lift it up, it falls down.
Here or here?
Wherever you go. Wherever you go.
In my
I
car?
want to go.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, go right there. I got one here.
I know, then the whole thing slides. That'll work. I got it. I think that's good. Okay. Okay, so tonight we are up for adoption is the 2025 municipal budget. Just to be clear, this presentation takes into account the budget resolution amending the budget from the last time from when it was introduced. There are a couple of amendments in there. Thank you, Mayor. So this presentation will reflect the numbers provided that resolution would pass tonight, amending the budget. The council did have opportunities and did reach out to the mayor and myself and Tina about some certain items and changes that we made. So we did reflect the resolution that's on tonight. So Vernon Township's 2025 municipal budget accounts for an operations budget that addresses services and obligations for a four-season municipality of over 68 square miles. Our township is claimed as home by over 20,000 people and visited by tens of thousands each year for the beauty of the Appalachian Trail and the active recreational activities offered year-round by not only the township, but Mountain Creek, Great Gorge, and other businesses in town. So if I can scroll a little bit so everyone can see that. And this will be available on the website. I just want to make that clear for anyone who's listening at home. So this just gives a summary of the 2025 current fund budget. There was an increase in capital and debt expenses of over $200,000 from last year, which reflects an increase in cash capital and a decreased use of debt obligations. It is important to maintain a township's capital and debt plan, paying for certain items in cash that have useful lives under 10 years. All future projects proposed have been reviewed, and portions of the shorter term items will have larger cash down payments to reduce their impact on the township's bond ordinance and reduce long-term interest on debt. Longer term items, including large DPW equipment, are put into debt obligations since they have statutorily longer useful lives. Shorter term items like police vehicles and computers are paid for in cash. Here we have $18.4 million in municipal operations appropriations, $5.15 million in debt service and capital appropriations, almost $7 million in reserve for uncollected taxes, which I will get to later and kind of give a better definition of that. We have almost $12.3 million in local budget revenues, and the amount to be raised by taxation this year is $20,172,838.82 for an overall total budget of $32,433,355. This year, we did see a loss in revenues anticipated, including state funding, and last year we used the reserve for sale of properties, which we did anticipate not using again, in this year's budget, obviously. We are also anticipating an increased use of fund balance. This funding source is a non-recurring revenue, and it's anticipated to significantly decrease at the end of this year. With the introduction of this budget, the township will see a decrease of their fund balance to 15% of this year's budget at $5,127,193.62. This percentage is down from last year's budget introduction and not ideal for the township's future financial standing in the markets or future budget years. Through the use of this revolving fund balance and the township is able to keep the tax increase to less than $10 per month on the average home. So this is just a breakdown, little pie chart of the municipal budget and what portions go where. 56% of our municipal budget accounts for general operations. Debt, capital, and deferred charges account for the next highest at 16%, followed by our statutory obligations of Social Security and pension payments. That accounts for 9%. Utilities are around 2%, and the reserve for uncollected taxes accounts for 8%. The SCUMA bill, which is wholly paid by the VTMUA, accounts for 8% of our budgeted costs. Finally, both grants and shared services make up about less than 1% and have equal offsetting revenues to support those expenses. The local municipal tax rate. So this year, our local tax rate decreased from 0.555 to 0.539. This just gives you a comparison between the assessed values of last year and 2025. So we obviously have an increase of about $300,000, $350,000 in assessed, sorry, $350 million, not $1,000 in assessed value for the township. The average home increased from $339,000 to about $375,000. Overall, we are looking at $118 annual increase on the average home. That's total for the year. So the average municipal taxes are $1,727. That's just under $1,000 less than what a family of four cell phone bill goes for in 2025. So, oh, what just happened? Why did that?
You dropped down.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. Is that better? That's better. I think it was my fault. Okay, so a comparison between 2024 and 2025. Last year, we used 1.75 million from our fund balance in addition to two sources of revenue that were not going to be replaced. This helped to maintain the third year in a row without a tax levy increase. Redemption of tax title liens in 2024 was what grew our fund balance by approximately $100,000 in 2025. I'm sorry, at the end of 2024, moving into 2025. A healthy fund balance enables towns to achieve, oh, did we just go out again? That's okay. That's all right. That's okay. A healthy fund balance enables towns to achieve lower interest rates on debt issuance and increase available cash flow for operations. Since Vernon Township does not pay for all capital needs in cash, it is required to take out debt for capital infrastructure and equipment. This debt comes with the debt issuance expenses, including market interest rates, and currently those interest rates are between 3 and 4.25%. Oh, we're back on. Depending on if we issue official statements when we go out for notes, and obviously the amount being issued, the more debt you take out, usually the interest rate goes down. But this year, the township is continuing to use a large amount of fund balance of 1.65 million to offset a larger increase in property taxes. Having fund balance is important for unforeseen circumstances that arise and to help offset large expenses that we do not anticipate or budget for. Those things can include large repairs and current operations for fire trucks, ambulances, DPW, large DPW equipment, massive storm damages for any storms, obviously, that we do not anticipate. Some repairs of equipment and townwide damages can cost upwards of $100,000 to millions of dollars, which we do not currently have in the budget. With a healthy fund balance, we would be in a better position to handle those issues should they arise in a fashion that will not hurt the taxpayer in the future. Reduction in fund balance, as well as the cancellation of the annual assessment maintenance program, could be an indication to rating agencies that the township is not on the most ideal financial path. We're still on track with paying down our short-term debt obligations, though, and are making every effort to pay down our obligations prior to permanent financing. These are some of our 2025 budget highlights, and I did address some of them, but we'll get into it a little bit. Cash capital items increased by just over $200,000 from last year's budget. So there was a decrease in debt service. So what we did was we moved that decrease in debt service over to cash capital items to stabilize our debt and capital budget for the year. And moving forward, we are staying in line with our capital plans for 2025 and still focusing on better long-term planning by putting money aside for future capital needs. So the services that are offered by the township, in order to run everyday operations of the municipality and maintain the required offices, there are various departments within the township. These offices process building and zoning permits, food handler licenses, marriage licenses, birth and death certificates, OPRA requests, court transactions, animal licensing, and animal control. They also collect taxes, assess values to properties in town, process tax appeals, farmland assessments, run land use boards, process invoices, and make deposits. Public safety encompasses our 24/7 service from our police, fire, and EMS services and the Office of Emergency Management. It includes contributions as reimbursements to our 4 volunteer hire companies and volunteer ambulance services. The DPW is responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of over 108 plus miles of roadway. They handle drainage projects and maintenance, stormwater maintenance, snow removal, road repairs, brush control, recycling, and maintenance of all public grounds and parks. Insurance includes unemployment, health insurance costs after employee contributions, workers' compensation, liability, life, etc. So there are items that are entirely out of our control in our municipal budget, but they still have an effect on our budget. Directly, we're affected by FICA, Social Security, Medicare, and pension payments. The state mandates annual PFRS, that's Police and Fire Retirement System, and PERS, that's Public Employee Retirement System, bills. And while we've seen a one-time leveling off of costs this year, I do anticipate larger increases in years to come as the state has not properly funded the system in decades, with adequate funding projections being at 80% and they're still only at 40%. In years past, we've seen anywhere from 7 to 12% increases in these lines each year. Again, this is the first time I've ever seen it not increased. Debt service is derived from our existing schedules and the urge to pay down debt, based on the useful lives of items purchased, and to reallocate debted items to cash items to reduce expenses on interest. Lastly, the county and school tax levies are handled and billed in your local tax bill. However, they still affect our bottom line as the township is required to send the full billed amounts regardless of our collections. That's why we have something called a reserve for uncollected taxes. This is an amount that we calculate based on last year's collection rate, which was 96.8% in 2024. So in total, the average Vernon Township taxpayer is paying $4.73 per day for the municipal budget and the services they receive. That's an increase of 33 cents higher than the last 4 years. Included in these costs are all the services previously described, as well as long-term issues such as debt management and a capital plan that continues to reduce our reliance on debt for the future. Vernon Township is responsibly addressing capital needs by issuing smart debt for items with useful lives above 10 years, while still providing top-notch services to our residents and searching out every opportunity to save our taxpayers money while providing those services. And that is all I have for tonight. Was it'll blind them.
Now, is our tax collection rate pretty decent, like compared to other towns? 90, was it 96.8?
It's okay.
Okay,
I've seen other towns with much higher.
really? Okay.
Yeah, like I was amazed at how high. I mean, I've seen them between 96 and 99%.
Okay.
I will say, since 2019, our rate has increased significantly, so.
And is it because we have maybe a large commercial property here that doesn't pay? Is that really influencing that number?
That definitely influences it, yes, our rate.
So if we, I wonder if we took that property out,
Yeah, so.
what it would look like.
So if that property, it's dollar for dollar, right? So if that property owed $400,000 for that year's current taxes and it wasn't paid, that's $400,000 additional on your run.
Yeah, so that percentage would definitely be better if we didn't have that large.
Yep.
Commercial property, that makes sense.
It's really warm in here.
It is horrible.
I look like I'm embarrassed. It's just because I'm really.
No, we're Staying there like, oh, I'm gonna be like 5 pounds thinner when we walk out. You know, trying to move quick, it's still, right? Like the sweat lodge.
May I have a motion to read the municipal 2025 municipal budget by title only?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Fury. Is there a second?
I'll second it with the question, what's title only mean?
Rather than going through each individual
Line item.
line item.
Okay, I'll second that.
Do you want to read it all?
Roll call.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember DeBenedetti?
Yes.
Higgins?
This is on the resolution to pass the budget as presented.
No.
To read it.
Read
To read it.
municipal budget for 2025 by title only.
President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to open the floor for the public to comment
I'll
on
make that motion.
municipal budget? Moved by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mrs. De Benedetto. Roll call.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember DeBenedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes,
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Floor is open to the public for any comments on the municipal budget. Anyone wishing to address the council on this item? Seeing no one coming forward, may I have a motion to close the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mrs. De Benedetto. Roll call.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember DeBenedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
yes,
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to adopt the resolution to amend the introduced budget?
any discussion on that first?
After,
Oh, yeah.
after it's on the floor.
It's on the floor. Resolution 25119.
I'll make that motion.
To amend the introduced budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mrs. De Benedetto. Roll call.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember DeBenedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes,
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to adopt the municipal budget, resolution 25-120. The resolution shall read, be it resolved by the council members of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, that the budget herein set before is hereby adopted and shall constitute appropriation for the purposes stated of the therein set forth appropriations and authorization of the amount of $20,671,119.46. The item for municipal purposes. May I have a motion? Place this on the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mrs. De Benedetto.
Now we can. just-
Now you can comment on this. Are there any comments?
yes, just number one, first comment to now. Best presentation you made in terms of concise, to the point, easily understood, very well done. That's well done. So the real point here from me is, as it was before, the surplus. So you showed on your slides that it was 6.7 million, and that was the previous surplus. And you're using 1.6, I guess, to bring it down to 5.1 million, which is about, what, 17% of the,
15%. It's 15%.
that would 5.1 into 32. See what that is. $5.1 divided by 32 million.
15.81%.
Okay, yeah, so it's like 16%, right? Yeah, 15.93%. So with that stated, it's come down considerably from the 20.9 in your previous budget. Is there any anticipated increases in any revenues? I'm hearing good news from the mayor. I'm hearing other good news from events taking place around the town. Is there any planning for any of those increased revenues? Tax revenues, cannabis tax revenues, increases in hotel or?
Everything that we anticipate is in here. So everything that we've anticipated is in the existing budget.
Okay. Any anticipation for the Legends payments? Is that in there at all?
I put that in the budget. You're not.
That's not in there yet. Okay, so we're at around 16%, close, 15.9% surplus if the budget passed. What's the amount of total percentage of tax increase? It was $118 per family. What's that in percentage?
7% increase.
Which?
A 7% increase.
A 7% increase for the taxpayers?
After 3 years of not increasing taxes, that's correct.
All right. Thank you. That number just didn't seem right. 7%, it just seems like it should be less. It was your original budget that yourself and the mayor, when we met, was 3.69% increase.
Total increase in the budget.
Yeah. So what's the total increase in the budget?
Total increase in the budget is 3.5%.
3.5%.
And I do have a comment right now. So we've used the if this budget gets passed, we'll be using the 1.65 million. And we won't have that next year in our fund balance.
Right, there'll be 5 million in the fund balance. Right.
There'll be 5 million, and I mean, I guess we could have, there could be things that don't get appropriated and could be transferred over to the fund balance, right? Like next year, we might have unspent monies. Probably not to 1.65 million. So I just want to, I'm thinking ahead, right, for another year. I understand it's nice not to increase, believe me. But
We haven't had.
we haven't had an increase. And if you look at critically at this budget and what Danelle and the mayor and Tina have presented us, next year we will have probably an increase too, because we're taking 1.65 million out of fund balance. I don't know if we'll regenerate it. What do we regenerate in 2024 in fund balance? No.
So we added an additional $100,000 last year.
Okay.
The difference is
Right.
we had a higher appropriated reserves. So a couple of weeks ago, we had just around $600,000 in appropriated reserves left from 2024. I anticipate probably 450 that might lapse the fund balance. If we have the same year revenue wise that we had this year, which I do not anticipate because we had an extra 300,000 in delinquent taxes, which we did not.
Unusual, all that was, yeah, I mean, who knows?
Title
Who
deeds
knows?
that were redeemed, and that's not really something that you anticipate happening. But if we had the same year, we would be putting back about $900,000 into our fund balance. So you're gonna be out.
So you still 7, yeah, 7. So I just want to right, so we're thinking down the road. So what you decide today just doesn't affect 2025. It also sets the foundation right then for 2026. And we're not the school board is really the issue.
Yeah,
The school board is,
frustrating.
so, and, you know, and there's things, you know, costs have increased, insurance has increased, those are legal obligations. We can't change those. So, I think the administration has worked really hard. You know, you came to us with a budget, and I know I met with, the mayor and Danelle, and, Mr. Rizzuto did, and I believe, you know, Jessica and Bill did too. And you heard what we said, and you really, made an effort to reduce things as we, requested, and I appreciate that. Because it's not an easy thing to do, but it is important to, limit, as, to me personally, limit as much as possible any increases to the taxpayer. And I think that that's what this budget does.
So just for clarification, the original budget was a 3.69% increase, and this budget is a 7% increase? That's what I want to clarify.
The total budget, municipal budget increase is 3.5% in this budget.
This one.
The amount to be raised by taxation because it was not raised for 3 years, it's been the same tax rate for 4 years, is a 7.3% increase in taxes.
Because we kept absorbing that increase
Yeah.
in fund balance.
Taxes pay for part of the budget, then revenues pay for the rest. I get it. So it's a
But there was-
3.5% increase to the taxpayer,
To the budget, not to the
to
taxpayer.
the budget, and a 7% increase on the taxpayer portion.
Because our budget went up, but we never passed it on to the taxpayer.
And there were
Yeah.
also revenues that we used.
We had surplus. It's not that we
Yeah.
didn't have the money. The surplus,
We had, but we just never, but that's why there was no increase. That's why there's that disconnect, right? Like the budget went 3.5, but to the taxpayer, it's 7. So that's why there's a disconnect there, right? That's what it sounds like, because we never passed it to the taxpayer. We took it from fund balance. Right, Danelle? Am I explaining? I must be like a beet because I feel, I don't know what else.
I just think it stinks that we and you, especially you guys, continue to do your part to keep this as low as possible for the town, and the school board just continues to raise out of control.
I would ask
I
that,
agree.
we're not here to cast blame.
I am, sorry.
Well, I can't stop you, but I would ask you to understand that we have no input in that particular area other than our vote,
Yeah, but if-
individual vote.
Maybe if the people watching this video who are upset by the 7% increase understand that our hands are tied by the school board budget, maybe they would direct their attention there.
I think what part of that problem is that we need to have a little closer contact. And within that, I'm going to ask later on in this meeting that myself and the vice president, Mrs. Bucieri, if she has the time, can become a liaison with the Board of Education. Not get involved with individual programs or teachers or schools or anything, simply with the governing body, since they are the largest governing body after the township. But certainly the amount of money that that is appropriated for them through the township is significant by almost 2.5 times. So I think it would be only wise for us to schedule some, tentative meetings or appropriate meetings so that when these issues are raised, they can hear what the
Okay.
council's input is on something like that. But that'll be later on, but I understand where you're coming from, but we don't know what they know, nor do they know what we know. And I think we have to rely upon the good intentions that they have, as well as the good intentions that we have in running a proper government. And all I'm asking is that trying to make this an issue of one group against another, at this point, I think it doesn't serve any purpose.
I'm not saying it's anybody against anybody, but I'm saying there's an issue that needs to be highlighted and I'm
And-
tired of it landing here.
I hear you. And I'm sure, you know, I'm sure other members feel the same way. But, we here to serve the people and, I think, the budget put forth and the work that has been done by members of, the mayor's staff, certainly with, the business administrator and, the chief financial officer, not the chief operating officer.
Oh, now he demoted you. You're-
Has done well. I think when the initial presentation came out, where we were told that the budget would increase by the average home by $160 per year, and we're down to 118, that is a significant decrease. So thank you very much for hearing.
You asked for 120, we got to 118.
Wow.
We did by $2.
Dollars.
That's right. That's right, you did. So thank you very much. Mr. Higgins.
I can't have my name tied to a 7% tax increase. I mean, that's all. I'll ask the question. We have 5.1 million. If you took 1.1 million and ended up with $4 million, what's the tax increase?
So it's still not 0%.
I didn't say it was zero. What would it be?
$1 million out of your fund balance to make it a
Yeah.
zero increase.
What would the tax increase be then?
Went up by 1/3.
It would be, if you put $3 million out of your fund balance, it would be a 0% increase.
3 million out of the
Next.
6.7, if you take 3 million out?
Yeah.
So. And,
See you next year.
That's my question.
Out of 5 million. Yeah.
3 points, let's see what that is.
You'd be capped.
At some
Then what
point.
will we do next year, Bill? Yeah.
At some point, we're going to have to pay the piper. You can't not keep going to a bank account and take your money out of it. And when it's gone, the amount of money that you're going to be required to raise to even bring that amount of money back to tabletop level is going to be very, very significant. You know, I've had people tell me, why did you do that? You should have just gone with $50 a year and it would have been a lot easier, $50 a year than spending, paying the $118 in one shot.
I'm thinking of the 70% of the population that lives in this town, that if their car engine blew, or their lawnmower blew up, or a tree fell down on their yard, they're in desperate need, because they are in desperate need, and I'm fighting for them. So if we took the full amount out and we were left with 11.5% fund balance, I'm agreeing, we bottomed out, we're there. And we might be able to do that. If it's a fund balance left of 13%, say, and that equates to a 1.5% tax increase, I could go for that. I can't go for,
Is what do you do
What do we
then
do
next?
next year? What do we do next year, Bill?
Because you're already in a situation this year, right, where you lost $700,000 in revenue,
right,
which could account for a large majority of this increase in taxes. So next year, you're talking about a $3 million loss in revenue. You're not gonna be able to anticipate another $3 million in fund balance. You're not gonna anticipate
Like, what do we-
and a half in fund balance. Like, what would you, you're looking at a tax.
I guess I'd ask the governor the same thing. They're running at 10.9%.
The state of New Jersey has a lower bond rating than the township of Vernon.
The governor is running with a 10.9%. That's his fund balance.
Yes, and he has a lower bond rating than the township of Vernon,
Well, that's,
which means the cost of them taking out debt in the state of New Jersey significantly increased because they have a lower bond rating than the township of Vernon.
so he's willing to take that risk, right? And he's not running for reelection. And
I can't speak for the governor, but I can tell you, looking at the financials of the state of New Jersey, you have an A1 versus a double A3. We're significantly better off financially than the state of New Jersey is.
And that is reflected in the amount of money that we save when we go out to finance any capital debt.
Well, I think the township can in fact save some money to increase. For example, we've spoken now for 2 years about going out to bid for all the services that we automatically renew. And the insurance agents, the auditors, everything that comes up for renewal every year, and that we automatically renew it. This year, I think we agreed that we're going to go out to bid for those services. That could be a decent savings. There's one way to do it and sharpen our pencils on how we operate.
Don't go out to bid for professional services, you go out for an RFP, but,
It's the same thing, RFP, request for proposal.
it's not the same.
You're,
It's not the same.
I don't want to,
You're required, you're.
see, instead of answering the question, you're trying to do a technical
No, it's
RFP or it's a bid. That's not the point. The point is, there's ways to try to save money and or increase revenues. In this case, it was saving money, whether it's a bid or an RFP, call it what you want. Those are things we spoke about that we haven't done. Somebody asked me the question, how can you do it? And I'm answering the question.
I think the issue of the township is revenue side, not so much the appropriation side.
And there's
The
a
township
possibility.
does everything in its power, going through state contract, going out to bid, going through competitive contract. We literally ask for quotes on everything over $1,000, which is unheard of. If you ask other local municipalities, they don't do that. Everything over $1,000, we have more than one quote for.
Everything over 1,000. So our auditor, who got the automatic renewal.
Professional service.
Oh, now there's an exception. How about including the professional services in with the rest of them? That is money. It's a lot of money.
But we don't go out to bid for that. You go out for requests for proposals.
You haven't done that though, because we're automatically,
That's not my responsibility.
I can't have a conversation with you when you change the subject to taking as me saying you. We're talking about doing something and we're talking about things we can do. That's what it's not about who does it or what it's called. It's about trying to save money and get better return for our dollars. And I can't.
The amount, but the amount of money that we would be saving by doing that is much less than what we are talking about in terms of the loss of revenue by continually moving into our basically our savings accounts, our fund balance. Once we do this, those little ones that we pick off and we decide to use, they're no longer available for the next time around. The money that we spend for fund balance, you have to replace that amount to even get back to where you are for your basic consideration.
I've heard you. You've said it 3 times. I've heard it. I get it.
I do want to comment, though. I don't disagree with you as far as the professional services and going out for RFPs is something we talked about on the school board too. And, every so many years, seeing if there's another option professionally. And I think that's something that if the administration chooses to do, we wouldn't do it. They would do it. We'd approve it. I think you would probably have council support, which would be great. It's not going to fill a gap of 3.5 million or 1.65 million. I think if you're looking at an accounting firm, you might save a few $1,000s, right? I think most accounting firms that do audits and accounting services to municipalities are probably pretty consistent, just like legal firms, but definitely get the RFP. I think the bigger thing is I'm gonna liken this to your home budget. I make a certain amount per year. It doesn't cover my bills, but I have a savings account. So every year, I don't get a second job or I don't get a better job. I just take money from my savings account and pay my bills. And I just keep doing that until I get to a point where I have no savings account left anymore, but I never did anything to increase my revenue. And I just dug a hole for myself. And that's what we did for 3 years. By not increasing, right? Costs went up and we never, now I'm not saying the township is a business in the sense that you're earning salary, but our tax, the taxes that we collected and the other revenue sources never met our financial obligations. So we took money from our savings account to meet that obligation. And you don't have to approve the budget. And I respect your vote. You have your voice and I respect that. But if we don't approve the budget today, then we as a council will have to decide where to cut. So we will need to look at the budget, go through it line by line, and tell the administration where to cut it. And if we don't do that by a certain date, and you didn't have a confirmed date for me, but you thought maybe about some point in May.
Yeah.
If we don't send Trenton an approved budget, we individually each, as council members, not the township, can be fined $25 a day, every day until we pass a budget.
And it's non-refundable.
It's non-refundable, and the township doesn't pay it, we pay it individually. We need to pass a budget, and if that means we have to sit and go line by line, if the majority doesn't pass the budget tonight, I guess that's what we'll do.
Probably have to.
If it doesn't pass tonight, but you're prepared to do that, like that, because you have to think hard, like, we need to, there's obligations. I look at, the lines for the DPW, I can understand them to a degree. I look at the lines for the rec department or for the police department or for our administrative costs. But the day-to-day decisions are made at that level. So now we're going to have to make, if it doesn't pass. So, and that's something to consider.
Right. No, I get it. I understand.
And then you want, and
Mr. Mayor, are you okay with you're gonna put your name on a 7% increase?
Like I've always said, I don't like paying taxes on the other one, but understand that we also have an obligation. I understand, you talk about, the homeowner and if he blows an engine, and I get all that.
believe me.
But we have to provide, we also have services we need to provide people too. So there's that scale. And quite frankly, I mean, it's been 0-0. We've been hit with we've been forced to pay double-digit increases in pension and insurance, and the list just goes on. And we just been, so I think it should have been very small increases those last few years, but I understand people have, their campaign promise, but it gets to a point where we have to have that responsibility. I get it. I don't like to pay tax. I don't like to do it. But $118, less than $10 a month, we have to be careful. We don't want to put ourselves in a dangerous situation.
Janelle, pre-COVID, what was our average surplus?
Our average surplus pre-COVID, I would have to get those numbers for you.
Yeah,
I think our fund balance was higher under Mayor Shortway and Burrell. Our fund balance was definitely higher, wasn't it?
Fund balance increased during those years.
During those years, yeah.
I can only go back to the fact that we, as a council, when we decided that we were going to hold the municipal portion of the budget for no tax increase, all of us said that we would remember that at some point. And this becomes the day of reckoning. Had we gone ahead and only put, as I said earlier, a $50 increase, perhaps it might have been better. Perhaps that would have been more, demonstrated more wisdom financially. But I think what we all did was looked at that and said, let's see if we can't help the other taxing body by not increasing taxes in the municipal portion of the budget and trying to give the taxpayer a break. And we did. But we just can't continue this type of absorbing whatever increases that we need.
And Bill, you said it last year that we had zero increase, and you made it very clear that don't expect that to be next year. It's not gonna, it's gonna be very difficult to do. Like I said, we've cut a lot of areas where we tried to reduce our amount if we could. Like I said, we have an obligation to the taxpayers for those services to continue, and God forbid we get hit with hurricanes or, more ice storms that create huge debt. We need to be prepared. It's unfortunate, but We have to be prepared.
Well, I'm of the belief that if we pass along the last 0% tax increase and use fund balance and end up with a 12% surplus fund, we're okay.
12%. No, that's not being responsible, Bill. Come on.
Okay.
That's putting us in a bad situation.
Are there any other comments? Okay. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Bushieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Member Higgins?
No.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. Consent agenda, resolution 25113, sidebar agreement between the Township of Vernon and UAW Local 2326. Resolution 25-121, refund for totally disabled veteran block 202, lot 39, Schwind. Resolution 25-122, refund for totally disabled veteran block 458, lot 53, Von Essen. Resolution 25-123, block 458, lot 53, Von Essen, canceling taxes for a total disabled veteran. Resolution 25-124, approving active volunteer firefighter for membership in the New Jersey State Firefighters Association, Rivera. Resolution 25-125, authorize the award of a required disclosure contract with firefighter 1 for purchase of volunteer firefighter department gear, maintenance tools. Resolution 25-126, resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the FY 2025 Transportation Alternatives Program. Resolution 25-127, refund for totally disabled veteran block 153, lot 2, McCullough. Resolution 25-128, block 153, lot 2, McCullough, canceling taxes for the total disabled veteran. Resolution 25-129, block 10, lot 7, Barrett, canceling taxes for the total disabled veteran. Resolution 25-130, refund for overpayment, block 571, lot 8, Mendoza. Resolution 25-131, refund overpayment, block 608, lot 10, Cicerelli. Resolution 25-132, refund overpayment, block 527, lot 479, Turek. Resolution 25-133, refund overpayment, block 350, lot 5, Jenkins. Resolution 25-134, chapter 159, resolution requesting approval of revenue and appropriation amending 2025 budget as a revenue and appropriation of $12,337. Resolution 25-135, chapter 159, a resolution requesting approval of revenue and appropriation amending the 2025 budget as a revenue and appropriation of $2,563.50. If anyone has any concerns and would like to separate any of these parts of the consent agenda from the total, please let me know and I'll do that.
25,113, please.
25,113. We'll separate. Any others? No? Okay. For may I have a resolution?
A motion.
Make a motion, revise the motion on resolutions for, consideration on 25-121 through 25-135.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Di Benedetto. Roll call vote.
Chiari,
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto.
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Regarding the sidebar agreement. May I have a motion to place that on the
I'll make that motion.
moved by Mrs. Bucieri, seconded by Mr. Higgins?
Yep.
Questions, comments on it?
So to get a yeah, this, it was discussed previously at one of our meetings. So we have an agreement with the County of Sussex to provide nutritional food for senior citizens, right? And that was agreed to in December, I guess, as our,
Agreed in our, that was our reorganization meeting.
right,
Yes.
sharing services with the county. So, and then we provide the location for it, which is a cost of $27,000 on the year. And the way that program works is they're senior citizens who are entitled to some nutritional food. They take advantage of it. They want to throw in a couple of dollars towards the cost of it. That's up to them. But the menu and the food is actually put together in Newton, and then it's brought over here and it's served to them. So the menu is put together in Newton and the food comes from Newton to Vernon, correct?
It'd be a little bit more than that. On the second page, the knowledge and abilities, and I guess requirements, they list any number of requirements that were within the scope of the program when we passed it at the reorganization meeting. And they also gave some examples of what the work was, but it was mentioned last time when we met that there was a concern about a nutritionist. I guess we kind of narrowed that down too finely because the actual job specification on this is a site manager and nutrition program.
Right,
With the definition, which incurs other areas.
right. It appears to be more of a bookkeeping tabs on number of people that want certain foods, faxing the information over, coordinating it. It's not designing the menu.
No.
Or a real nutrition.
But they do follow up on people, for example, who have a salt-free diet. They have to make sure that those people that require a salt-free diet are given it. Those people who require a diet that is devoid of heavy sugar or carbohydrates, they also receive something like that. I don't know if they do any dietary counseling. That probably is, I didn't see that.
You can see the job description at the end of the packet.
Yeah.
Right, so we've had a person in this position for how many years?
Well,
12 years. And that person is an employee of the township, right?
yes,
Okay, and they were hired under civil service list posting?
yes,
Okay, and they've been performing the job. So now that person has requested to continue doing the same job, but being put under the auspices of the union,
The UAW
the
requested,
UAW union.
the UAW requested this.
The UAW requested it.
Yes, the UAW requested it.
Why would they request it now instead of 12 years?
She started as a part-time employee. Okay, so when the position turned into a full-time position, almost 10 years ago, that position should have been put in the UAW contract, and it never was. Civil service, the position is not a department head. She's not a confidential. So that position should have been in the UAW contract back then, and it never was. So the UAW approached the administration and wants that title in the contract. I don't know why they want it. It sounds like it should have been in the contract years ago. And that's the reasoning of putting it in the contract now.
Is the UAW contract that was just agreed on and in place the first of this year, the contract that presents a raise and that also allows a person entering that union to jump from step 1 to step 4? And the reasoning was to attract more people. That was, you guys are the ones that negotiated that contract, and it was your words that we were losing people and we couldn't get people to join in some of our employment here. And as a result, we were wiping out steps 2, 3, and going right to 4. Is that accurate?
So okay, so just to be clear, because you stated that we said that someone could jump from step 1 to step 4. That's not what we did in this contract. We eliminated those initial steps with those salaries because those salaries were not attractive for the market for employees that were coming in on a UAW contract.
Well, I just said that and you said no, and then you explained what I just said.
Said that we allowed people to jump from step 1 to step 4.
No, you eliminated him. So a person, this person, and I don't know who the person is. I don't care. It's not about the person.
Just for the record, we can't discuss that person.
It's not about the person.
But he is.
Yeah. So this person is going right to step 4.
No.
That's what it says in the,
That's not what I said. No, that's the level. That's the level, the classification of the title that exists.
which equates to money.
Is that civil service step 4?
No. In the UAW contract, you have, it's not the steps, it's the levels. You have like a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, a level 4, a level 5, right? And I think a level 6. This classification based on the civil service, level code, local code, if you were to take a look at the backup that was provided, the local code is a 10, based on the job specifications, et cetera, in conversations between administration and the UAW. That level 4 is where they agreed this position would be based on the responsibilities that this position takes on.
So if we were
Civil
gonna,
service.
if we were gonna post this
It's-
position right now, if we didn't have someone hired in this position right now, if we were gonna post it, if this got approved,
Mhm.
right? It would be posted at a level 4.
For you, you're talking UAW.
Yeah, for UAW.
Yes.
If this was approved in the UAW contract, if this position, I'm assuming that approved, and we didn't have anybody to hire, that's what this position would be.
Correct.
Okay,
Previous to the UAW contract, the current one, what would it have been posted as?
There's no levels without a contract.
it would have,
Under the old contract, what would it have been posted under?
It wasn't on, there was no old it wasn't in the.
it wasn't in the contract, so that's what this is about. We're voting
The
to,
UAW never had a,
Misunderstanding your question. Can you maybe try again with the
did
question?
the UAW have a contract with us previous to the current one?
Correct,
Yes, they did.
yes.
What would it have been posted under that contract?
If this title existed, it would have been a level 4.
Under the old contract,
Yes.
not level 1?
No, I think that there's a misunderstanding in language here because there's levels 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, right, through level 6.
Right,
And there's steps in each level,
right.
right? So what the administration did with this UAW contract was they took out, I'd have to go back and see, but Level one, they removed the steps from level one,
Right.
not level four. So they removed the initial steps from level one because I believe it's still in the salary, and please do not quote me on this, might have been around $30,000 for an entry level position into the township. So with what the township agreed was to remove those lower beginning salaries and start off with about, I think it was a $40,000 salary in the level one. This is a level four, not a level one. So it's not a step four. It's in a level four,
Mhm.
which has steps in it.
So steps are in levels.
Correct.
So if that,
I understand that.
if you compared that, the same thing happening a year ago to now, it's an advantage to the employee or to be in the union now monetarily, more so than it was a year ago.
Because there was an increase.
But wait,
No,
there would be level four
it would be level
regardless.
It would always be level four.
But what step?
No step.
No step. It's just the level.
No step now. Was there a step back then?
There were steps back then too. I think it would be, we didn't include it, but there's the UAW step guide. So on the UAW step guide, you have different levels and different jobs. Civil service titles qualify for different levels based on skills, knowledge, certifications, experience, et cetera, right? So this, based on those, the civil service definition and job duties, et cetera, in conversations with the union, we, meaning we as the township, felt that it fit into a level four position compared to the other positions that are listed in level 1, 2, and 3, 5, and 6.
Which the net result is the employee would get a $9,000 raise. Is that correct?
So I think you would need to compare the salary ordinance for that position, and I don't recall what that range was. I don't remember the upper level of that range to the starting salary in a level 4 is $50,000.
So is that a yes?
I don't want to talk about someone specifically because I can't do that.
No, we're not talking about a person. We're talking about a position here.
Yeah, but there's only one position.
It's one position and one person. I can't.
We have to be able to talk about it.
You can, you'd have to.
So just to be clear, so the township has a salary ordinance, which has this listed,
Mhm.
right? In the salary ordinance, and there's a
Yep.
range.
Mhm.
And I wish I had it right here, but I don't. It's on my PC. But there's a range that already exists. So I don't know what that range is, but if that range went up to $50,000, then you're not talking about technically an increase. You're talking about the same, the range starts there. I don't know what that number is. It could be $45,000. It could be $43,000. I'm not sure what that upper level of the range is.
Unless I'm mistaken, it's going from 47 to 56.
I can't comment on specific individual.
So we have a person performing a job satisfactorily for a number of years. Things are going well, everybody's happy, and the quote union says we want that person in our union, and we have to vote on that. Is that where we're at?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I know what my vote will be.
Okay.
Call the vote.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Bushielli?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
No,
Councilmember Higgins?
No,
Council President Rizzuto?
Once again, I'm not going to vote on this, and I'm going to request that this be tabled until we can get an affirmative solution on it. This is the second time we're going on this, and I can understand the frustration that members of the council have on this, but it is not something that needs to be resolved.
wouldn't that require a vote to table that?
Yes, may I have a motion to table this?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Is there a second?
Second? Nobody wants to table it?
The motion dies.
Motion dies. Thank you. And motion fails. I'll vote in the affirmative.
Second public hearing.
Moving to the adoption of an ordinance Ordinance 25-05 and amending chapter 374 of the Township Code entitled Nuisances, Public Health to Prohibitive Intrusion, Outdoor Lighting. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public on this particular?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
President Rizzuto?
Yes. The floor is open to the public regarding ordinance 25-05. Anyone wishing to comment on this, please approach the lectern and make your comments. Seeing no one coming forward, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor to the public. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Roll call.
Member Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes. May I have a motion to place this ordinance on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Seconded by Mr. Healy. Any comments on this? This is a second reading. Do you have any concerns or comments? Roll call.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
May I have a motion to open the floor for public comment on any item? Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Di Benedetto. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Anyone wishing to come forward and address the council on any issue, please do so. Yes, come on, right here.
Yeah, come
Oh,
further.
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Please give us your name.
Johnny Espinosa. And I'm sorry, I just want to ask a question because a lot of this is like Chinese to me.
Yeah.
Like, is the town forced or by law or anything to accept this person into that union?
Well, the way this will go is if the person is not accepted into the union because, we don't approve this, then there will be what they call a desk audit, where somebody from governing the union will come out and look at the duties that are performed. And if those duties correspond to what is that job description within the scope of the person wishing to join the union, then we would, it would go to PERC, Public Employment Relations. And they have the final say, and they will direct the township to let that woman join the union, place that child, that person within the union.
That position. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, they could possibly vote her back pay. Yes.
My name is Karina. I just want to follow up on his questions. Can this position be posted to somebody else to apply? As a contract or something else can be created?
The position is already in existence.
Yeah, I know, but like instead of move the person, in all this back and forth, to just place in a contract as a part-time like was before, something like that?
Well, what you're asking is something, if there were no vacancy, that's what you would do. There is no vacancy now. this person is, the person that holds this position is still there. And the only issue at question is whether or not she's permitted to, that person is permitted to join the union. And I'm getting too close to an area that I shouldn't be in terms of, talking about an individual employee without providing, any type of
Price notice.
recognition on the,
I understand. It's just curious because if you are 12 years in the same position, why this now? It's just weird, but moving to another question. So as far as I understand, what is like affecting the budget is mostly the part that comes from the Board of Education. That's take a chunk of money of the budget.
when you look at the way township's budget is composed, approximately 20% is made up of the expenditures by the municipality, police, fire, stuff, those things. There's an additional 20% probably within the county. That's for county roads, county bridges, things like that. And then you're looking at an area, I don't have the actual number, but we're probably looking at 65%.
That's about 57, Pat.
Oh, 57, I'm sorry.
57 for schools.
57 for schools. And then the balance would be for, a more refined number for the other areas.
Thank you.
And also for the library tax.
There is any way that I know the budget was approved, but there was any way that it could be like divided the 7%, like maybe like in 4% this year, 3% next year, not carrying all the 7% at once?
You can't do that. The taxes have to be paid in total.
No, I understand that, but I mean the increase. Is that to be like 7% straight in one shot? Like do like 4% increase this year and then the next year,
You can't partly pay your funding of taxes. It's funded in its totality, all at once. Meaning you pay it on a quarterly basis.
I understand that. What I'm saying is the increase for the taxpayer is 7%.
And if the money isn't there, then you can't spend it.
But I think that the question is, that's why most municipalities will put modest incomes so that they don't have to face this problem after they zero for 3 years. Unless they're getting revenues, unless there's a lot of development in town, then revenue side goes up. You don't have to raise taxes. But stagnant here, so you have to raise taxes because there's 2%, 3% cost of living every year for a person, also for the municipality.
You can't spend money that you don't have.
I understood that part. What I'm saying is like instead, because you guys mentioned that you guys have budget, they have something that is saving, that is, you trying to keep it. So that's what I'm saying, like part be taken this year from the taxpayer and then allocate the rest for the next year, because
That would have happened if they would have spent some more of the surplus this year, instead of having a 7%, and said, let's settle on a 3. And then next year, but they decided not to do that. They went for the whole 7.
take it once.
And they want to hold on whatever's.
The township chose to not increase taxes for 3 years in a row. So this township has had the same tax rate for the past 4 years. So there's been no increases for 3 years, which is why we're facing a 7.3% increase and a significant reduction in fund balance this year to reduce that increase.
I understood that, but it's a huge shot. 7% is a huge shot.
What you're asking for is what,
Look, yeah, I think 7%, if we look at that, you have to look at it in terms of what I think is what it could have been. I mean, we took this budget down from 7% to, I'm sorry, it was higher than that. We brought it down to 7%.
I remember I was here.
Okay,
No more. Thank you.
thank you. Seeing no one else coming forward, may I have a motion to close the floor to the public?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Council comments. Mr. Higgins,
No further comments.
further comments? Mrs. Di Benedetto.
This meeting started off so good with Cody. It was, such a nice pleasant thing to have at a meeting. And then, I've never felt so gross about a vote in my life. I felt backed into a corner. I already regret it, but I just didn't see another way other than decreasing the fund balance. And then we're faced with the same thing next year. That said, sorry, Pat, but I think people need to start attending school board meetings.
I don't disagree.
That's it.
Mrs. Bucieri.
No further comments.
I have no further comments. Oh, excuse me. Yes, I do. I'm sorry. I would like the council to consider the establishment of a committee to meet with the Board of Education not on a regular basis, but maybe 2 or 3 times, before the end of the year. And to discuss any problems that may be, applicable to both the board, the council, and perhaps what they can do for it. I know the mayor has maintained his ties with the superintendent. That's an operations deal. I'm looking at, meeting with people on the council level. So I am going to make that appointment, myself and Mrs. Bucieri. Would you accept that?
Yeah, let me know the schedule. I'll see if I can
Work that
make it
out.
work. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Other than that, I have no comments. May I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mrs. Benedetto, is there a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy the nice weather.
You too.
Good night.
I wish I voted no.